When I saw that message, like, please pray for this person, two thoughts came into my head. First was, of all the bad things that they did to me and to my loved ones. And then second was, you must pray a rosary for them. Hello and welcome to Our Hearts Are Restless. My name is Alexis. Thank you so much for joining me. Recently, I had a family member come back into my life. And this family member is not someone I am very fond of, to say the least. I only have bad memories of this person. When I was a kid, they were very verbally and physically abusive to me and my brother, to the point that one time I was beaten so bad that apparently the next day at school, according to my brother, during recess, I would just stay in a corner and tremble. And I don't even remember this at all. And so having this person in my life when I was a kid and having this horrible relationship with them, plus the fact that it seemed that everybody around us, all the adults around us, didn't acknowledge the pain that my brother and I were going through. So that plus the abuse, I grew to hate this person very, very much. My brother as well. Just hate that person. And so this person who I hated so much came back into my life recently. Not physically, but they came back into my life. Someone messaged me and asked me if I could pray for them because this person was going through surgery. And actually the day before, this person's name popped into my head and I prayed a decade for them. And so it was a little, surprising the next day that their name came up with a message because they were going through some sort of surgery. And someone wanted me to pray for them. And at that moment, when that happened, when I saw that message, like, please pray for this person, two thoughts came into my head. First was, of all the bad things that they did to me and to my loved ones, I just remembered it. Just came back. It all came back. And then second was, you must pray a rosary for them. And at that moment, I hesitated for a second, just rereading the text over and over again. Please pray for this person if you could. And then I told the person who messaged me that this person actually came into my thoughts yesterday and that I prayed for them a decade. And today I will pray a whole rosary for them. And so I did. And it was this weird feeling because I had forgiven this person, years prior to this event. I had forgiven them in my heart. I truly did. But there's nothing that is more difficult than the action that follows the forgiveness, the forgiving of someone. You can say that you've forgiven them, but what you do after you say that you've forgiven them is what's most difficult. And this person doesn't know that I had, forgiven them because I don't think they thought about me a lot through all these years. But several years before I did forgive them, I asked the Lord, please help me forgive this person. And so when I prayed the rosary, it was a very bizarre moment, and I cried. I cried real hard. And even though all these bad things happened to me when I was a kid because of this person, there were lessons to learn and things that I learned to appreciate more since it's happened. This event might seem trivial to you, but to me, it was very, very difficult to actually go through just because of what they did to me when I was a kid. So reflecting on this event, what did I learn? I learned that I have to give the same mercy to this person as Christ has given me and everybody else. Mercy is difficult for regular human beings like me. Easily done, easily said. To someone you can be forgiving to someone who is not really, hasn't done much bad to you. But when someone has done bad to you, real bad, it is very difficult to forgive that person. But I must remember, we all must remember that Christ, though he was sinless, forgave us and died for us. And so I had to show the same mercy to this person as Jesus would. And second, I learned that I had to ask myself, is my pride worth more than this person's soul? No, not at all. Not at all. This person's soul is worth as much as mine, as yours, as anybody else's. A soul to God is so sacred. And he did everything, and he is doing everything he can to save us. And so if I just, tell myself, well, he did so many bad things to me when I was a kid, he doesn't deserve me praying for him. Well, that's just pride. I am as much of a sinner as he is. And because I know that God and Jesus has forgiven us and is asking us to ask him to save us, I cannot just take that away or make it difficult for someone else to get that despite of the bad that they did. So my pride I was humbled. I was humbled greatly. And humility always brings you closer to Christ, brings you closer to God. And, I just remember that he's just like me. I'm just like him. Perhaps I might not, have beaten anyone up, but I have sinned as he has sinned. And so I can't be full of prideful, and, just like the Pharisees, just scoff at a sinner and not think of myself. And instead of giving more hatred towards this person, I should pray for this person. And yeah, that ties up with the third thing I learned, is what it actually means to love your enemies. Christ asked us to love our neighbor. Christ asked us to love our enemies, and loving your enemies requires so much humility and reflection and mercy, and it's something that you can only do through the grace of God. You must ask for the grace to be able to forgive and to love your enemies. And your enemies are much more closer to you than you think they are, because we think enemies like from far away, distant lands, which we all have. We all do have enemies that are far away from us, but those are the enemies that we have closest to us. Within our families, our friends, those are the hardest ones to give mercy to forgive. And sometimes you're your own family's worst enemy, your children's, your spouse's worst enemy. But instead of adding fuel to the fire of this horrible relationship, keeping enemies, offer up your suffering. Offer up your suffering to God. Tell Him to transform this pain into something good. Instead of grudging, holding a grudge, offer it up to God and pray for this person. This person I thought I would never hear about or see again on this side of life. And God willing, that on the other side of life, you'll find this person reborn anew, thanking you for praying for them instead of holding that grudge. And so I encourage you, if you are going through a difficult time with someone, a family member, a friend, love them as Christ loved them. Pray for them. Pray a rosary for them. Offer up a mass for their conversion. Turn that pain and transform it into something good for them. Do as Christ would. And so with that, my friends, thank you so much for joining me, and I shall see you next time. God bless.